No one cares more about your money than you, so of course, no one is going to protect it the way you can. But finances can be complicated, and to make matters worse, we're often left to figure out things on our own. But if we don't know much, it is so easy for things to just get completely out of control, and it can happen so quickly. So if you can relate to any of this, today we're going to look at a few tips that can help you take back control of your money. And this video is sponsored by Lexington Law, and we'll talk more about them in a moment. The first thing to do is take control of your credit. Now, some people prefer not to use credit, and I totally respect that. But regardless of how we feel, it does carry weight, especially in the lending world. So it is so important that you keep a close eye on your credit and you monitor it on a regular basis. So if you can't remember the last time that you checked your reports, it's probably been too long. But of course, it isn't enough to check your credit. You also need to maintain a good score. And this involves paying your bills on time, keeping your credit card debt low, and making sure all information on your credit report is accurate, fair, and substantiated. And if the information isn't accurate, don't let it remain there until it falls off. You have to dispute it. Now, when it comes to fixing issues on your credit report, this is something that you can do yourself. However, it will require a lot of patience because it can be a lengthy and time-consuming process, and you may prefer not to do it alone. And if that is the case, this is where Lexington Law can help. Lexington Law is a credit repair law firm that has relationships with all three major credit bureaus and FICO. This is a plus because lenders review your credit report and your credit score when deciding whether to give you credit, and this information can also determine your rate on mortgages, auto loans, and other types of financing. Through Lexington Law, you can receive your FICO score, a free TransUnion summary, and a personalized credit report consultation with an experienced credit consultant. They also have experienced lawyers and paralegals that work to protect consumers' credit rights and ensure that they have fair and accurate credit reports. And this service specifically addresses inaccurate or negative credit items caused by many life events, such as divorce, student loan debt, medical expenses, identity theft, military service, and national emergencies. Plus, you're never locked into a payment plan, so you can cancel or change your service whenever you choose. And I know you're busy, but the good news is that a consultation does not take a lot of time. The average consultation time is only 5 minutes, and there are several service levels to fit every budget and situation. So if you're ready to take charge of your credit, you can contact Lexington Law to get your free credit report consultation, and I will include a link in the description. The next thing you need to do is confront your money issues. When things are out of control financially, I think it's so easy for some people to just ignore the problem or maybe just push it aside, and we might even tell ourselves that we'll deal with it later, but yet later never comes. Understand though that ignoring a money problem will not make it go away. This can actually make things worse, and the longer you procrastinate, the longer it'll take to fix things. And even when a person takes a head in the sand approach, meaning that they're not actively thinking about a problem, it's still there, it's still in the back of their mind, and that can cause a lot of financial insecurity and money worries. So you have to be proactive and face your finances head on, and this involves adding up your credit card debt, reviewing your spending over the past several months, and comparing your income with your expenses. And the numbers might scare you, and you might even discover that things are worse than you thought, but this is part of the process because you can't get ahead financially until you fully understand what's holding you back. The next thing you need to do is educate yourself. I read a quote that says financial education can be the difference between opportunity and adversity, and it really speaks to the importance of financial literacy. Yet, financial illiteracy continues to be a major problem, and it contributes to a lot of money issues. Back in 2017, one survey found that 70% of Americans could not answer 3 basic money questions, and that is a huge problem because poor financial education can lead to debt, bad money decisions, bad credit, and it can even affect our home and employment options. So a big part of being in control of your finances is learning about money. So if you haven't watched a lot of finance videos, or maybe this is your first, don't stop here, continue to learn. And as you learn about money, it is so important that you don't limit yourself to only the basics. It's great learning about budgeting and debt management and credit management, but it's also important to learn about other concepts too, such as investing, different types of savings accounts, and even insurances. Because having a full understanding can have a better outcome. So continue to watch finance videos, read finance blogs, listen to a podcast, and if necessary, ask for help. You also need to create a sustainable spending plan, which is not only balanced but also realistic. One of the easiest ways to lose control of your money is not to know where it goes. But even though having a budget or a spending plan might seem like a no-brainer for some, there are people who either have never created a budget, don't feel that they need a budget, or think that they're too broke to budget. I also give quick money tips on TikTok, and I've gotten some pretty interesting comments related to budgeting. I had one person basically say that budgets are for poor people, but then on the flip side of that, another person said that budgeting is for people who have money. So there are definitely varying opinions regarding who needs a budget, who needs to use one. And I understand it's not always easy. But if you feel that your finances are all over the place, or that you're always running out of money between paychecks, or that you're not saving enough, not having a budget could be part of the problem. Now, granted, some people do have an income problem, meaning that what they earn is not enough to cover their expenses. But in these situations, a budget is not going to hurt you. It might actually help, because once you have a visual of what's coming in and what's going out, there might be areas where you can cut back and give yourself some breathing room. And despite what you might have heard, budgets are beneficial for everyone regardless of income level, because let's be honest, there are plenty of broke six-figure people walking around. So even if you earn good money, having a budget is one of the best ways to protect yourself from lifestyle creep, and it can also help you live within your means. It also helps to stop living in the moment. Living in the moment can be great advice if you're trying to be more present and mindful and reduce anxiety, but it can be terrible advice when it involves your money. This type of thinking can have a huge financial impact because you're making financial decisions based on how you feel at a certain moment in time, and you're not always considering how the decision will affect you in the upcoming weeks, months, or years. So before making any decision, you really have to count the cost. For example, you can ask yourself how this action will affect your finances long term. Will it get you closer or farther away from your goals? Will it make it harder or impossible to save or pay off debt? And will it add to your financial burden? And asking yourselves these questions is great because it really makes you stop and consider the consequences of your next steps, which can help curb some of those impulse decisions. You also need to come up with a system to get organized. Poor organization might not seem like a big deal, but it can gradually lead to financial problems, because if you are overwhelmed by different bills and expenses coming in and you don't have a system for keeping up with everything, something might fall through the cracks. So another way to take control of your money is to organize your bills, and there are so many ways to do this. You can switch to paperless statements and reduce the amount of paper coming into your home. You can use a calendar to record due dates, or maybe start automating your bills. You can also look into scheduling a weekly bill paying day. And if you receive paper statements, you can also have a designated spot for these in your home so you don't lose anything. And lastly, it's important to plan ahead as best as you can. Financial curveballs and setbacks will happen, and it's not really a question of if, but rather when. Now, sitting around and worrying or waiting for something bad to happen is obviously no way to live. But at the same time, we can't ignore the fact that bad things do happen, so it is crucial to plan for potential setbacks. With that being said, having an emergency fund, a retirement plan, and adequate insurance is an essential part of a good financial plan, because when worst case scenarios happen, a plan can help soften the blow and keep your head above water. So that's all that I have for you guys today. Thank you for watching this video, and if you liked it, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, definitely consider subscribing. I talk a lot about money topics, so if you like videos like this, I do post every weekend and sometimes during the week. Thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in a few days.